Welcome to the buy list. This is episode 70.
This is not financial advice. This is cardboard. Damn it.
That was way offline, brother.
It was so offline. We're working on it. All right.
I respect the technique, the new try.
Yep. Got it. Always innovating here
Yeah.
at the buy list.
Mhm.
Never not innovating.
Yep. Nate, how's your week been in Fab?
Great. I got to play Acilio live in person for the first time ever, and it was the best.
It was the best.
Yep. I went 2-1. I lost to a Florian in the final round. Shout out Charlie. Great guy, but also the worst because he made me lose. But the deck is a ton of fun. Listen, everyone out here hating on Acilio because he's not playable. Like, listen, he's like 1 to 20 cards away from being broken. he's like Lightning Riptide, baby. Just keep giving him support every set.
Oh, so he's gonna get that 1% expansion slot now for all of time.
1 spec per set, and everyone's gonna be like, "It's time!
It's time!"
And you know what? Who everyone will be? This guy.
Yeah, I could see you being excited every set for the new Lightning Wizard Acilio spec. That'd be
Dude,
pretty funny.
if I make it to a CC ProQuest, I'm 100% playing Acilio.
Yeah. Wow.
Unless the Dash.io deck is released, then I'll probably play that. Dude, I just like playing with more cards than I'm supposed to, and both of those heroes allow you to do that consistently.
Yeah. So are you saying that you want to find some LL events and play some Verdants?
Dude, okay. Okay. All right, LSS.
We could get right into. We did want to talk about the results from this weekend. We are recording this on Sunday night, so we've watched the Battle Hardened. We watched the LL ProQuest Plus event and the calling. So we can start with the ProQuest Plus because whoa.
Okay, LSS. You had to have known. It don't take no rocket scientist to realize Ampy plus Cracky not okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Like that's not okay. It's basically gonna be like Stubby's Fi. It's like the one event they're gonna be like, all right, that wasn't okay for anybody.
Yeah, no. He didn't win the event. He got poisoned. So Prism won the LL event, which is kind of hilarious because he was just like cooking people. He did draw 30 cards one time and then buffed a fire breathing to 138 damage, I believe. So
Yep,
that's something.
Yep.
Man,
those are
crazy.
things that happened, and that's not okay.
Yeah. I think we were talking about this before we hit record, and I think LSS has built a track record of just let them eat cake for like one event or like a couple weeks, right? And then they're like, all right, you had your fun. How cool was that? Goodbye forever. Right. We just
you guys got to do it once.
Yeah. Yep. We can just like etch this in the history books of LL right next to the all Starvo top 8, right?
Yes. But besides Dustblade, like RIP Dustblade never even got one event to shine.
That's true, actually. That was like that was like what, the week after Tales came out. They're just like, we're sorry.
It was before I think the set even released. It was like they were just like, sorry guys, we made a mistake.
Yeah.
That was big bad.
I played one armory with it.
Looking at LL Verdance versus Dustblade. Dustblade ain't looking so bad, okay? That looked like that. I think if going back with the philosophy they have now, I think LSS would have let Dustblade run for like at least 2 events. It wasn't that powerful. It wasn't that crazy.
Yeah, Chain, which because Seeds was still around too. So
Was it?
Yeah, it was
I
before
don't think
Seeds
so.
ban, because Seeds ban got banned after they let Chain go wild at the yeah. You might be right actually.
They banned seeds, I think, and then he got creepers, and then I was just like, oh, it's fine. He's getting creepers, guys. And they're like, oh, actually, the deck's just you. Thank you, LSS. You actually made our deck better.
Yeah.
Because then we were playing Tome and all that stuff. So
Yeah, the Seeds ban was secretly a buff. That was kind of
yeah,
funny.
it was
It's
secret
like,
buff
oh,
because no one knew how to build decks back then. So it's really just like, hey, idiots, quit playing a garbage card in your deck.
yeah, it's just like the Rift Binds pump was just not it. It was so much more consistent the other way around. But yeah, so that was wild. LL's definitely gonna see some changes for sure. Like there's no way we're making it to Chicago and into a calling um with Verdance the way with Kraken Ether's Vein in the format. No shot.
Nope.
But let's talk about that was kind of well, I don't want to like it's kind of like a side event, but we can start with the Battle Hardened since we're talking about Milwaukee.
The main event.
Yeah,
Yep.
the main event in Milwaukee, and I have the top 8 right here, Nate. So it was an undefeated Bolton, seed 1. It
Yep.
was Lucas Oswald on Enigma, and then Nick, who ended up winning the event on Viserai. We got 2 Verdances, we got an Aurora, and a Viserai again.
Yes. Shout out to Nick and Luke,
Mm-hmm.
uh, pack members, awesome
Well played.
dudes. Glad that they both like Luke has been working a ton on the Count Verdant deck, so glad that he was able to. He almost brought Acilio to the event. We've been working on
Oh,
Acilio a lot,
yeah.
and he swerved last minute, which apparently was the right decision. But I think like the our Acilio deck honestly has legs, and I think he would have top eighted with either because
Just
he's been like wizard lifing it up and he's been crushing it.
yeah.
And Nick has been a big purple man for a long time. So
Yeah.
it was really cool to see him do so well and win.
Yeah, I was rooting for Nick. The purple dude was showing up with 2 spots in the top 8, which was sick.
Yep.
And then Nick just like literally was like, "Here's molten lava in your face." He was just like throwing
Yeah.
so much heat, dude. It was crazy. The 2 games in the top 8 were just like mortar time, mortar time, mortar time. It's just like, oh man, yeah.
Yep.
I know how that goes. It's like you can't beat that. So yeah,
Yeah.
he was spinning it pretty hot. Um, yeah, overall thoughts though, Bolton was pretty cool to see up there, but the Battle Hardened did give us well, actually, with the 2 Verdances too, it's like a pretty good showing for Rosetta overall. Rosetta definitely pumps up Viserai massively if you watch those games. The new incantation is absolutely crazy. Um, I don't know how that costs 0. I legit thought it cost 1 until I watched those games, and then I was like, "How's he? What?" And then I went to February, and I was like, "Yo, hold on a second. This is like in my deck. I've clicked on it and put it in my decks, and I just always assumed it cost 1." I was like, "Wow,
Yeah.
okay, 0 is very good."
Zero
Um,
good. Yep.
yeah, and Sam Dando with Aurora as well in there, a new hero along with
Yep.
Verdance. Aurora is putting in some work, man. She's got some sweet tools that kind of came
Yes.
out of nowhere. Like I remember in Tampa, I was talking with a buddy, and we're like, after we saw the Majestics, is like that hero power is a little too expensive. Like, how's this gonna work? Like, mechanically, we actually talked a little bit about the pulling the cards back maybe gives her some legs, and it turns out in operation, Nate, it works really well.
Yeah. Deck is very good. Michael Fung actually took it to Leon. It was doing
Mhm.
very well until he got canoed.
That's Kano for everyone that is not used to Nate vocabulary, which is
Yes. Yeah.
everyone, including myself.
Yeah. Yeah. He was doing quite well until that point and kind of fell off. But There was one in the top 8 there. I think Aurora has a lot of legs. It's just very good, consistent numbers, awkward break points with on hits that can give Snatch go again in multiple different ways.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this or not, but Snatch with go again.
Yeah, it's been like number one goal since like that card's been printed in the first set WTR. It's just like, how do I get this goal again? How do I get another action point after this? It's like, yeah, it's when you can pull that off consistently, it's really nice.
Yeah, and it's not even your chain ender, which is like nuts. It's like your chain starter, and they're like, "Does he have a lightning press? Please, dear God, do not have a lightning press." And you're like, "Do I?
Do I
Do I? Yeah, are you ready?"
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, Channel Mountain or Channel Valley too, just hanging around, like just
yes,
wanting to draw cards. It's a pretty gnarly deck, and I suggest going back and watching some of it on the streams this weekend, both in Milwaukee and in Leon, because it's a fun watch and it's super interesting to see that. So now that you mentioned it, let's talk about Leon a little bit.
yeah.
Not so much, not so much for the room blades on this side of that side of the pond. We got 4. So there were 73 enigmas showing up.
Wow.
4 of them in the top 8. We got a prism, so 5 illusionists in the top 8. We got an azalea, 1 verdance, 1 aurora. So just 1 room blade, 1 wizard.
Yes, I don't even know what the prism is doing there. I am genuinely confused. Like, did they just like slip their opponents like narcotics and they pass out? Like, what happened? Because that was the least prism friendly field I think I have ever seen in my entire career. Enigma, terrible matchup.
Yeah.
KO, absolute garbage without tome. Both of those matchups, terrible without tome. So literally like 25 to 30% of the field, straight garbage. You have Aurora, not a good
Yeah.
matchup. All of the on hits ever in your deck has
Because
lots of no
yeah.
blocks. It like just could like Azalea, coin flippy, not a
Yeah.
don't know what the hell you're targeting.
Yeah.
Like rolling up with Prism outside of I want her to be my waifu, but like shout out to them.
Yeah.
Great job. Don't know how
Skillful
that's gonna
piloting.
happen. Yeah. Yeah. And then Enigma. There's a Count Your Blessings Enigma. I have not watched that stream game. I have no idea how that deck works.
It was the first dude. They put it on the first round, or no, it was like the third round of day 1, and it was like got to like 73 health. I was like, okay. I was like, well, so that's how this works. And then it turns out
um
Enigma has pretty sweet game-ending things like Maragai and Cosmic Awakenings.
Yeah, I guess you could just do that. That is an option.
Yeah,
So to everyone out there who's freaking out right now about Count Your Blessings being the problem child, there's been a lot of discourse about Count Your Blessings being a problem child. It is a problem at an armory. At a
yeah,
pro quest, not so much, because you're gonna know that that person's on Count Your Blessings,
yeah,
and you're gonna be able to play accordingly. At an armory, it's like what like you might just bring a deck that just like auto folds to count.
yeah,
Because if you don't have a weapon, you fold to the deck, but Count Your Blessing decks can't block. They're bad in the aggro. And so like if you present on hits or aggression, it's very hard for them.
yeah,
In the only decks that I feel like it's good into are combo kill decks. So like Verdance, which is the deck that we're working on. Like Luke was primarily working on that, but I've played a fair amount of games on the deck, and you just die a lot. It's like you're you're hoping that they just slow down a little bit, and then
Yeah,
you can
so
kind
you
of
can
turn
take
a
a breath.
corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even then, it's like sometimes you are just dead because you don't see the counts, or you finally see them and it's like, I'm at 12. I'm in danger.
Yeah.
And it's too late. But the I think at the high level, count is not going to be as big of an issue.
Yeah.
But at any other level, it's probably going to be a pretty bad game experience for a lot of players.
Yeah.
And I think it was a mistake.
Yeah, it definitely seems a little. Yeah, it's an interesting card design because, like you said, it's probably not bad for like the pro side of things, right? Where people play fast and they know how to beat it and they're played into it. But it's like not good to just like, hey, this is your first game of Flesh and Blood, or like, I like,
Yeah.
I don't want to walk up to my armory and be like, they're like, count your blessings. They're like, come on, man, I'm just gonna go get McDonald's. Like, you can play your counts by yourself. Um,
Yes.
it was interesting because there was a lot of talk, like you said, Nate, and then Brian's been very public about not helping the community at all. But he was like, all right, listen up. And he just like tweeted out gravekeeping, which,
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna be honest, I forgot was a card and it like just came out. And I was like, actually, that card, it's a 1 for 5. It's like it does everything Poison the Well like hinders you, right? Like Poison the Well is actually like poisoning your deck, for the most part. Like if you get
Yeah.
caught not playing Count Your Blessings, you're just like, oh, I don't need this card anymore. It's a no block. But like Gravekeeping isn't terrible, and a lot of decks can run it. And like every time you play it, it's like devastating for that deck, right? Because now they can't heal 9, now they can't heal 8. So it's like a little bit of it slows down that healing ramp. But like you said, I don't know. We'll see what they do with it, but it's not a very large boogeyman.
No. Yes, there are tons of counters to it. There's Poison the Well. There's Talisman of Cremation if you can play cards out of your banish zone. There's Gravekeeping. There's a lot, like all of the um Mistveil heroes have Passover. So you can just pass over a count. And
Yeah,
that's still like you're taking a lot of health off the board just by passing over one is still like meaningful.
yeah,
And then even new can her specialization can banish 2 of them and she can
yeah.
hit the top of the deck. There's so many ways to attack the deck, but
It doesn't
I think
doesn't matter though, right? Because it's kind of
it,
just like it's a just
yeah,
kind of a shitty play experience if you don't have one of those like silver bullets that kill it. It's just like, cool,
yeah,
you're at 70. Whee.
yeah, it's just not fun to yeah. Like, oh, okay, you're at 59 now. Like,
Yeah,
oh, ha, you can't heal 12 here. You only get to heal 11 or like you
yeah,
only heal 9. It's just it's not fun. It's like watching paint dry. It's like
yeah,
playing an Arachne. It's just not fun. No one's having fun here. No one's winning.
yeah,
That even the Arachne's not winning, but it's just not fun.
yeah.
Um, so I don't know. It'll be
It's
interesting to see what they do with it. I so we can just kind of like hop
I
into
was gonna
uh,
the final point I'll say on this is like, and I've been trying to point this out to friends and other players and stuff, is that you got to remember the timing on this thing, right? Brian has said that they started working on the BNR months ago, and Rosetta was designed years ago. So
yes.
let's just pump the brakes and just like remember the
Now,
timing of things. So like Zen would not have a problem with count your blessings. Like he would just be like, sure. Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna roll over you. So like, or
yeah.
just decks with Art of War would just like crush, right? So
Mhm.
just let's take a breath and let them figure it out, and they will, because they have every other time they've encountered a problem.
Yes. In like Luke got very close to winning the Battle Hardened. And I think count is really only makes sense in Verdants, to be completely honest. Like, I'm hearing like whispers of like Teklovos and Count, it's the best deck in the meta and no one knows it. And then I look at the calling and I see, not Teklovosin. And then I look at the Battle Hardened and I go, not Teklovosin. Weird. Um, and then like there's a bunch of Count Your Blessing dashes that were at the Battle Hardened.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at, look at that. Oh, my main top 8. Because decks like Viscerai and like you were like, oh, this was gonna be interesting. Count versus Vis. Like, I wonder how this will go. And I was like, it is very Vis favored. As someone who's played both sides of both lists, I played both of these lists into the other. Very Vis favored.
Yeah.
Decks that go very fast and present on hits are an issue for the Count decks. And we have a lot of them, and we're gonna get one more in a month.
Yeah.
Not even a month, like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So
Dash
um,
IO.
but it was really cool to see like their brand new heroes converting in a brand new meta.
Yes. Yeah. To get back to our main point is that the top eights had a sprinkling of new heroes, which is like, I think the sign of I don't want to say well designed, but like, yeah, probably a well designed and a well received set, right? I think there's been a lot of buzz, just as much buzz about the heroes in Rosetta as there were in Mistveil, which is like awesome to see, right? And they're out there making an impact already. And there was Florians on stream too that had good records as well. So like he's floating around probably just below the top 8 at some point, So
Yeah. And there's a lot of people are talking about how like Enigma is the new boogeyman of the format. And like, I don't know what people are testing or doing, but like Enigma feels like actual garbage right now. I don't I know it just won a calling. Like
bro,
I'm testing for, I'm testing for a world meta, but like
we just shook the Nate hates illusionist stink off of this podcast, and then you're like, actually, hold up.
hold up, Enigma's
And then we
unplayable.
just won a calling, and you're like, doesn't matter.
Nick sucks. I think Enigma is like it's like most illusionists are usually like trying to target like certain metas, and they usually try to abuse slower metas.
Yeah.
And I think like people are going to take Nick's list, and it's going to be pretty quick. I'm just saying, like
Yeah.
once you put that list on paper, like on the table, you're like, whoo, this is
Yeah.
what high octane feels like. But all of that is fueled by basically Rosetta cards.
Yeah.
The list has Succumb in it.
Yeah. We're
It
talking
has
about Viscerai
Snuff
here. Yeah.
Out, Machinations, all of the really good Runeblade cards that we were talking about when the set dropped. And it's carried on the back of that. And specifically like Malefic as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Our card's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess talking about it a little bit more and more the main topic that we're a week out. Last episode we talked about the collectability of Rosetta, which is like spot on.
Yep.
Kind of like what we saw over the last week. And basically what we saw is that elemental majestics are flying off TCG player like at a crazy clip. Like they like fill back in and then they like disappear again. And the ones I'm talking about before I hand it over to you, Nate, Felling of the Crown, Current Funnel, Plow Under, Channel Lightning Valley, Gone in a Flash are basically the top end of the set at the moment.
Yes. Yeah. And they're thin and becoming thinner. And I think the one thing to like Gone in a Flash, Channel Lightning Valley, and Current Funnel specifically, I don't think people were with our, like, if you go back and watch our tier list, we were also a little bit lower on them, and they are a touch lower than their Earth counterparts, but like those were incredibly cheap release weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Gone in a Flash was down to 10, Channel Lightning Valley, Current Funnel were down to 4 and 5, and they've moved back up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a flash in the pan either. Like
Yeah.
they have roughly the same inventory of Plow Under and Felling of the Crown.
Mm-hmm.
So like while we were a little slow to like get to those and talk about those, we can talk about some other cards that we're starting to see
Yeah.
thin out and like what we kind of expected. Some of the underpriced or overpriced items in the set, because I think one thing that did change with Rosetta from some of the past sets are that it takes a lot more boxes to get a full playset of the Majestics, which I think
Yeah.
is probably the one of the best ways to just kind of measure where we feel like the almost like the choke point of the product is.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you think about, you're trying to satisfy X amount of players, right?
Yeah.
How many of those boxes need to be opened and to basically satisfy that, and then where's the extra?
Mm-hmm.
um, so like takes about 22 and a half boxes to get a Majestic playset, um, which is not the case with like legendaries. Usually most sets it sits around like 18 to 20 for Majestic playsets. This set a lot higher, but the legendaries didn't really change at all. So even though these legendaries are powerful, we are seeing a lot of downward pressure on them because
Yeah.
again, like how many to make a player set? So
Yeah.
you've
It's
got like,
one, right?
yeah, and if it takes, let's say, like 18 cases to hit legendaries, but 22 to hit um, your Majestics, you have like one legendary left over, which then puts extra supply in the market, pushes the price down.
Yep.
So um, I get what have you been looking at, um, Ted, to like and thinking like, man, that's starting to get thin.
Well, yeah, that's a good point, Nate. Is that I still think there are a couple cards that. Now, I'm not going to say that they're going to be like, oh, this is going to be the next plow under once people catch on, right? Or we see more events, because there's actually an event this weekend too. There's a lot of stuff going on. They were, but the things that typical me, the things that I would look at, and I guess it just lines up. And I don't want to sound like a homer here, but the Roomblade Majestics are still like they're cheap, and I think Viz kind of showed off a little bit of what he's cooking. I was a little surprised to see at the calling that there wasn't more Viz around. But like Machinations is a 3 of in like any build. I think, and again, these cards are and if you watch my market minute, I mentioned this quickly, but all of these cards have pressure from they have pressure from multiple heroes. Like Vincent wants to play Machinations, wants to play Succumb, wants to play the shoot, what's the other one? Like she definitely wants to play Haunting. I would say Haunting is the one that where as I like look through it and built my list a little bit more, Vin is probably the only one that wants to play Haunting right now. Viz just plays too fast. um Aurora, there's really no room for it. You ain't got time for blocking. You're just like the only fours that she wants to see is in the attack side of the card, not in the block side. So like
Yep.
she's definitely not playing it. Florian, I think, could possibly play it, but it probably is it's like combated by Earth cards, right? He probably wants to have like Summer's Fall, and he wants to be setting cards more often. So yeah, Haunting is like the one outlier that I would say stay away from, because it's, or not stay away from, but like it won't move. But like
Yeah.
Succumb is at $9 right now. It's got a decent amount of listings, so that one, people are buying. But Machinations is at $6 right now, and that card is like a three of, and definitely in Viz, definitely in Van. Um, and then depending on your Florian build, maybe you play it. There's some, I'm sure Florian's so flexible that like you could play like 15 different ways, right? So, and I'm forgetting one too. Oh, Snuff Out. Snuff Out, the attack, the 1 for 5. That card is awesome. Um,
Good, good,
and
good.
yeah, Viz, if Viz continues to gain ground, that card, and I think that card's actually started to dry up already a bit,
Yes.
as Viz kind of showed up, flex some muscles this weekend. So that card was like $1.50, Nate, like before the weekend. I was like,
Yep.
come on, man. Ain't a
Yeah.
$1.50 card. Like, let's be honest.
I don't. Yeah, I don't like the set really rushed to the bottom.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. It's like, just quick before, not to cut you off, but like
Yeah.
in Mistvale, we saw this like open spree, right? We saw lots of people opening. I think we saw more than normal. We talked about it. There was just a flood of product, and then it kind of just like it just went down, right? We watched it go down, and it just stayed there, because I think more and more people kept, or like it kept being opened because of how fun it was to open. You got to marvel every case. Not the case in Rosetta, by the way. It was just like you always get this.
You didn't always get a Marvel, but yes.
It was close. It was
It was close.
the printed rarity was very close to one per case.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so it was a fun product to open. Not that Rosetta isn't. We talked about that already. It is, but it's not the same. Um, and we saw this like bounce, like Rosetta bounced this week pretty hard. I think people opened what they wanted to, listed it, and then got out. And now we're kind of left with what's left over.
Yeah, it I this is the quickest it's ever like a set EV has ever gone down. Like
Yeah.
for as long as we've tracked this, like
Hmm.
this is the absolute quickest, which is wild to think because this is a very like even Bright Lights was better, which is weird to say.
Yeah.
Bright Lights was
Yeah.
better than this in
Yeah.
terms of saleability and value of cards. Like I'm
Over time, over
I'm
this time period, yeah, for sure.
yeah, I'm not even close to break even yet on my break. Which
Hmm.
Bright Lights, I was at this point, I had sold most of my cards and I was down a little bit, minus my playset.
Yeah.
And this I'm probably like $1,600 off.
Yeah.
I
It's
still have a lot of cards because I'm not going to
yeah.
sell them that cheap.
Yeah.
And that like so like and I regret because you know what? Well, all the cards that sold were my channels, my current funnels.
Hmm.
I didn't sell any of my Felling of the Crowns. I sold that's not true. I did sell some.
Yeah.
And I sold some plow unders.
Yeah.
Um, but those are the only things that really sold. And I sold and now with where the prices are, I I missed out on a lot
Yeah.
of potential profit. So like it's going to be interesting tackling it going forward. I think the sigils really missed this set.
Yeah.
Um, they look beautiful.
Yeah, they are very pretty. Like every time I see one in person, I'm like, oh, okay, that's a nice looking card. I wish I could put you in my deck. Dude, I bought Sigil of Deadwood and Arknight, but it's just like I might play Arknight at an armory just for fun because it's pretty, and like every time I miss, I'll be like, whatever. That'll make me really angry, but that's how it's gonna go. Um, and that's I Nate, that's a good point, right? Is that back when we used to look at EV way more in depth, we always used to talk about like percentage, like where's the EV lay, right?
Yep.
Where's it, like how much? And it is very much, Rosetta is a majestic heavy EV set, but unfortunately at the moment it's all encapsulated in like 5 or 6 of those 49 majestics,
Yes.
which is like makes opening a little bit scary, because if you don't hit that plow under, you don't hit the channel lightning valley, you kind of just get, you get hit pretty hard. But I do think, and I think maybe you have a couple cards too. There are cards like those Runeblade Majestics are cards that could, I see some like slower growth over time.
Mhm.
And now that we're into a period where maybe people aren't opening boxes as much because there's not instant, you know what I mean? Like you're not like searching for a Marvel that you can flip instantly. Um, we'll start to
Yes.
see it kind of bounce back a little bit. And that's the difference about those older sets that you're talking about, right? Where like Mistveil just kind of hit the floor and stayed there. I actually looked at Mistveil before we started recording to see to like kind of recalibrate. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's rough go. Like very playable cards that are just like there's so many of them that like X amount of cards, like 15 play sets would have to sell before it goes up $5. And it's just like, oof. Not quite the case in Rosetta though. Cards will move
Yes.
in Rosetta.
It, I think the thing about sets with like big price tags on cards when you're looking at like legendaries at like $100 or sets with tunics or crowns in them,
Mm-hmm.
people will open those boxes to chase those
Those
cards,
cards, yeah.
and like that pushes down the value of all of the other cards because
Mm,
it's like, oh,
great point.
I opened Bright Lights and I opened like that set sucks, so there's like nothing in it.
System
Like
reset.
system reset. Like I'm literally gonna throw that in
Print,
the trash if I don't
yeah.
open Twin Drive Heist or any of the
Or
Evo
tunic,
Steel
yeah.
sold. Like the Majestics are a quarter, so it doesn't really matter. But like it puts a lot of the peaking puts a lot more pressure on some of those cards. So it'll be interesting to see if this has like a lot more while we've gone down incredibly quickly in terms of value. Um, if this levels out and stays there, because it's not like people are chasing sigils.
Mm-hmm.
The legendaries are already so cheap that no one's chasing those.
Yeah.
And like it's really going to be just like majestic playsets, but no one's going to open a box like to find like one majestic when they need a whole playset.
Yeah.
Because they're not, like there's always like the kind of the Timmy mindset of like, oh, I could go and spend $50 on that legendary, or I could open this box and open it. Of course, I will.
Yeah.
But no one's gonna be like, I could go spend $60 on this playset of Gauntlet Flashes, or I could open this box and open 3. Oh, I can't do that. That's impossible.
Yeah.
I'll just buy my playset.
Yeah.
So I think that, but like going back to like what's I like the Runeblade stuff undervalued. I'm really shocked and astonished at the utter disrespect paid to LSS for Arcanite Fortress. Like this card, like they printed X on it. Guys, gals,
Yeah.
they put X on it for a reason. Card's sitting at $15.
Yeah. It's that is a crazy one. That's what I ended the market minute with, Nate. And I can expand on my points a little bit more. With this card is like you said, there's an X, there's like a star on that. There's an X. Um it will be interesting to see how this goes. I think we've talked about this time. I think we talked about this with Stonewall Gauntlet too, right? Stonewall Gauntlet was at like $15. I bought a couple at 15. It's like a generic armor. like like if you don't have one of these, go get one right now. Like if you want, or if you just play with rainbow foils, they're like, definitely get one at $15, because in 6 months when they print another piece of Arcanite armor, and now this is 3, some deck's gonna play this, dude. Like
Okay, so listen, we're 40 minutes in. Brian is surely asleep. So at worst, this card says block 1, spell void 1.
yeah.
At worst.
Yeah,
That's pretty damn good, because a lot of people are putting damn spell fray bullshit in their deck.
that's true.
Like,
That's
block
actually
1, spell void
valid.
1 ain't bad.
Yeah, that's
Block
valid.
2, spell void 2. All right, I see you.
Yeah.
Block 3, spell void 3. Hold my beer. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah. I've had this conversation before, and it was like, they can't do that. That's, oh my God. And I was told, and they're like, we talked through it, and you're like, well, you have to give up. Like, let's say they made boots, right? And it was just this templating over again. Now you're giving up an action point resource, right? Are you giving up spellbound creepers? Are you giving up scab skins? So, like, yes, you're gaining block, but like, I think this is very interesting to be like, are you just going to be a like armored up guy and give up your like very important effects? Because like, I think a lot of the times you just can't do that, right? Some decks just cannot functionally give up their boots, their glove, you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see um, how they balance this and how they move forward. I think this will move forward, and I'm super excited for set armor bonus, dude. We're going full Diablo, and like, give me the full matching set. LSS, I'm officially requesting some kind of Runeblade set in the Mastery Pack, because we know Runeblade Mastery Pack's coming. Please give me, if it's just Majestic. What if they did like Majestics, Nate, in the Mastery?
This was Runeblade Mastery Pack. All right,
Dude, that was a week ago. I want new cards. That's old news, bro. We're now one of the best classes again, but I would like new cards.
I would like, yeah. I just got all of the new cards. Viscerize the best hero. I want more. All right, chill. I think like even Guardian, like you think about like, oh, that would be too good. Like Guardian would get a block 3 helmet, a block 3 chest, and then like a block 1 or 2 boots. That would be too broken. And it's like they're giving up tunic and tectonic plating potentially.
Yeah.
To just like that really messes with their entire resource curve.
Yeah.
So
I mean, tectonic plating already blocks for 3, guys. Let's remember it's Battle Warren, so it blocks for 2, and then it blocks for 1. So 3 is not crazy. 4 might be.
In the world. There's cards called Carrion Husk. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. There's a card called Barkbone of the Millennium Tree. And I don't know, I watched a game where that created 2 embodiment tokens and blocked for 1. And it looked insane. Okay.
That's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool card.
That card's insane.
Yeah.
So like you have to give up things for other things. It's not like just like strictly. So I think it's completely fine design space for them to pursue.
Yeah.
And as soon as it gets announced, like both the cold foil and the rainbow foils are going to go nuts. I don't even know. Stonewall Gauntlet is like you said, it's a $30 card now.
$44
I don't know why.
card.
Who's playing this card anymore?
It was live on TV this weekend, bro. People are
It
playing
was.
that
Luke
card.
has it in his deck. I know that much.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's even playing this? Oh wait, my team's playing it.
Yeah, it's like the best. It's just like, okay, like you have to run this stupid hat so you can combo people. So it's like, all right, I'm basically playing naked and afraid, so I need something in my arm slot that potentially blocks too.
Yeah, now that you brought it up, like I mentioned, I bought some for $15 because it's a generic armor. And now I'm very happy selling them at $44.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how you eke out your value in this game. That's how you get fun sigils and marvels and stuff. Is like you find deals like this, and then like you just mentioned it, the cold foil at $54. I think even that is like, if you're a cold foil guy, this is one of the coolest cold foil armor
Yeah.
I've seen. That art is so amazing, dude. Like
Yeah.
they took like my fan fiction of like the Arcanite Skullcap guy, and then just was like, yeah, it's actually more badass than you think. Like, I don't know what this guy's doing. I don't think there's any lore on him. I just spin it up in my head, Nate, and I'm just like, I have to own this card because this guy looks like one of the most badass people in all of Wraith.
Yes, exactly. Um, yeah, it's sick. And if they don't make like a Marvel, like when they finally do it and they don't like make some sort of like Marvel like flip set where you can just like and it's just like the full picture. That's what they need to do. They did it with the art cards, but they need to do it in Marvel with armor. So you could just have your freaking flipped over Marvel armor pieces sitting
That's
there.
hard to do with 4, but I guess, yeah.
How? They
Well,
just did it on the freaking art cards that they did
yeah,
for
that's
this
true. That's
set.
true.
Just do it. Just freaking Marvel that shit and ship it. Ship it, James.
I think,
Um, so other things to like be cognizant of in this set too, like um a lot of the value is going to hang out in the majestic slot, but the normal sigils are quite rare. Um the rares and the
normal.
commons
You
are
mean the
both.
Marvels?
Yes, the Marvels. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry. Yes. Um so like looking at the Marvels, like what I'm just looking at like what has the potential to be like incredibly good in the future, right? Sigil of Temporal Manipulation.
Mhm.
This card has that potential. Is it good right now? No, it's absolute garbage. But it allows you it allows you to play a card off the top of your deck as an instant, which
Yeah.
pretty good. Um, it's literally Kano's hero ability
Yeah.
on a card, and they're never printing Kano's hero ability again.
Yeah, that ain't never
I
coming
can
back.
guarantee that. All right.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Um,
that's a one and done there for sure.
it's like so it's when when it leaves the arena, top card of the deck. So like there's like some like crazy things you can do with like pitch stacking Aether Wildfire and like I'll like flash of brilliance, block with a discard a lightning card, flip this, pow. But there's other cool things you can do with it too.
Yeah.
Um, a card that I don't think is good right now, but has that potential to be insane in the future is Sigil of Cycles.
I was just gonna say, I think Cycles is actually one of those cards that might cook in the future.
This card already one of the best blues in Reinar.
Yeah. You mentioned that to me the other day, and I was like, oh wait. I was like,
Yeah.
it just intimidates at the start of your turn, dude. Like you just discard a 6 and then you're like, drop it down to 3.
Yeah. Oh, discard Beast Within. Oh, cool. I'll draw a card, draw a card. Oh, cool. I have a 6 card hand now. Blood Rush Bellow.
Yeah,
Oh, you
and
have 2 cards out of your hand. Cool. Barraging Beatdown. 1 card left in hand. Oh, be a shame if something happened to that. Barraging Beatdown.
yeah.
All right, cool. I have 2 Claw, Smatter Skull. And it's like 29. You don't get to block anything. And you don't get one of those cards back. Good luck with life.
Yeah.
Um,
It's got some potential. I was thinking about like earth stuff as well. It's just like another way to make sure you get an earth card in your, it's like very slow. Like don't get me wrong here. But like maybe some build, I don't know. Like just being able to like discard and get that draw a new card is interesting enough.
yes. Yes, agreed. And I think the reason the set EV has dropped so much is because the Marvels just have not landed.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that might be where some of like the hidden value is. The uh majestic extended arts, I think there's like two sides to it. Like right now, like 10 foot tall and bulletproof is sitting at like $38.
Mm-hmm.
That that one might be a little bit too cheap.
I
Um,
bought 3. I was like, you know
I
what? I'm gonna get these right now. Like I can't justify paying for the like 100 of, whatever it is for Call to the Grave. But I was like, $40. I was like, that's my barrier of entry. I'll buy that.
Yeah, I bought 2 truces for 34 when they were low,
Yeah, that's very good.
and I was just like, great. This is the price. I'm perfectly happy paying under $40 for
Yeah.
an EA Majestic
Mm-hmm.
that will probably go in a deck at some point.
Yep.
Um,
100%.
and 10 foot tall and bulletproof too. It's a generic 10-10. Okay.
Yeah.
We put that in slapper tier.
Yeah. It was a
I
little
was
bit
very
late.
tired.
It
As
was
I
a
am
little
now.
late because I think
As
I
I
even
am
went
now.
back. Like, why did we do that day? You're like, I don't know why that made it there.
I know exactly why. I wanted to be done recording. So I just said put it in slaps and let's move on.
Dude, you poisoned us. You poisoned
Yeah.
us. Like our record without that card though up there in banger tier is like looking pretty good actually.
Yeah.
Current funnel we missed out a little bit. Let's not talk about that. Um
Okay. So to be fair, I was going through a phase with the Celio where I hated that card and it wasn't in the deck. It's back in the deck. Don't worry, guys. It's back. Um, and it's a banger.
yeah.
That's for sure.
I
So
think before, like, I guess we probably should be wrapping up here and talking about these Marvels. I think Deadwood is like one that is interesting to me. Again, it's just like making that rune chant, and then especially in Florian, it makes 2 once you're turned on, like late game. It's a blue, it blocks for 2, so it's like not the worst card in the world, but like it just doesn't. It's very like mid-ish,
it's
but
not good enough.
yeah,
When you have to like do all of these things to make this crappy blue worth 2,
yeah,
I'm
it's
not
true.
interested. If it was
It's
worth
true. I
3,
just want it to be good because that card is sick. Like,
that you don't tell me. But like, yeah, like I'm sorry, like Sigil of Findel, that card's never gonna be good.
yeah, gain 1, dude. For
Yeah, gain 1 in. But Ted, once you turn on your hero ability in
yeah,
Verdant, it's ping them for 1/2. It's genius.
this one I
But
fully agree on you because it's not a Rune Blade card. So yeah, that one definitely sucks.
yeah, Sigil of Findel, garbage. Sigil of Foresight, also not good. Unless there's like a hero that comes out that like they gain intellect for ponder tokens as well. I have no idea. It's
Yeah,
literally the only thing that would make that thing playable. Sigil of the Earth. That one is a little spicier in the Earth deck specifically because the embodiment's quite good. I think it's less good in Verdance. We've talked about it and it just like
yeah,
doesn't. It's like you play it and then you have to wait a whole nother turn for it to explode. And then you have to draw. So you have to draw like 2 hands and then you get your embodiment and you have no idea what those hands are going to look like.
yeah.
So
Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's like a floor, like maybe some some OTK Florian meta where like you have a ton of non-attacks in your deck, and you just know that you're going to draw up at least 3 non-attacks your next hand. I'm grasping here, but
yeah,
um,
I can sense the grasping.
but I think So I think we 55 minutes in here. Closing remarks on Rosetta and these Marvels, Nate, would be that they're not Everfest trinkets.
Dude, healing potion is popping off. You take that back right now, Theodore.
Is that the first time one of those trinkets have actually like seen a considerable amount of play?
Potion of Deja Vu.
Oh yeah, you're right. Deja Vu and Canoe or Kano. I have to be your translator to the world.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's true. Deja Vu and now Healing Potion.
Yep.
You did it. There's only 17 others that might be playable someday.
And to those who don't know and haven't been around long enough, James White will try to gaslight you into believing that they are playable. He's done it multiple times, told people to get their trinkets.
Yeah.
Watch out. Watch out for the J Dubs.
Yeah. I believe he had something cooking. I just we haven't seen it.
Dude,
But
we see Healing Potion.
yeah. Yup. That is true.
We see Healing Potion now. Yup. So
All right.
yeah, I think overall though, Rosetta, like very, very well designed set, very well received. I think the fact that it tanked so quickly will help the set overall because people
Yeah.
will stop opening boxes because it's not a great proposition.
It's a scary thing to open a box.
It is very
Yeah.
scary. So I think like the set will like really like settle and mature and hopefully kind of like settle in this like nice little
Yeah.
range where everything has like a decent price point, but not like crazy expensive, but also not crazy cheap.
Yeah.
So
4
I really,
meta 3.5 meta heroes as well is going to help quite a bit over the next 6 months.
I'm gonna win a PQ on Acilio just because of that.
All right. Then
Michigan,
bring it
watch
to
out.
Worlds.
Michigan, watch out. I'm coming for you.
All right.
All right.
There it is. Laid down the gauntlet. All right.
Yeah.
That's going to do it, Nate. Please like, subscribe, watch the market watch videos that I put out. I try to put out a couple a week. And then also follow the buy list on Twitter for daily tweets of cards that are popping off.
Daily.
The buy list on
Did you just sign up for daily tweets?
Hey man, I've done one every day so far.
All right.
So far.
So far.
Maybe daily tweets. Perhaps.
Yes.
Anyways.
All right. And everyone, put your money where your mouth is.
Peace.
Peace.